folks, to round one at Belle of the V8 Veterans. This is split one tonight. We are making up for lost time where we couldn't get the split one broadcasting the other night. We've got it here tonight. And if it's anything like what we saw in split two around the streets, the concrete walls here at Detroit, it's going to be mayhem aplenty. Welcome aboard tonight. Hello, everyone. And hopefully you can find some time tonight to tune in, bring a few mates as well, and get involved in the banter for tonight's race. Hello, Ben Anthony, and thank you for all your efforts over the last couple of days to get us a replay file, and a big thanks to, in the end, it was Mr. Young, wasn't it? So thank you. Without him, Paul Young, we wouldn't have gone tonight, so massive thanks to Paul. And actually, it was Warren Davis, wasn't it, in the end? So we got about 5 or 6 different ones. I'm so confused, I forgot which one I ended up getting, but it was, after about 5 or 6 different tries, it was actually Warren Davis. So big thanks, Warren. And there's some previous winners on the left-hand side of the screen there you can see from this wonderful circuit. But let's take you straight down to the grid for this split one race tonight. The drivers starting to line up now. Greg Favell coming off incredible form last season. Will start from pole position with Stuart Hall alongside. Tixia starts from third place with Jason Dixon back tonight on the second row. Jason Benz, welcome back to season 12. He starts from the third row with Nitschke alongside him. Cairns and McHugh will start from the fourth row with Dumbrell and Young rounding out your top 10. Jamie McKnight starts from 11th tonight with Greg Sharp rounding out your top 12. 13th on the grid, it's Gamble with Thomas, then Smart and Lewis and Stewart with Vanderkran down in 18th. Kirby and King will round out the 20. Travis Hunt starts from 21st. Latham, Visma and Crisdale rounds out your 24. 25th on the grid tonight, it's Mr. Banks with Nickel alongside, then Warren Davis and Kennedy round out the 28. Goody and Richie, your top 30. Paul Preston for Banter Alliance starts out of 31st alongside Brenton O'Brien for Evolution Racing Team. Matty Parker will be there as well with Peter Vanderkran. Then you've got Craig Friend and Marty Hansen down there in 36th place. The drivers are ready to go racing, so let's get rid of that. It was a quick grid up tonight. And here they go, green flag, and we're off and racing for this 53-lap race tonight around the streets of Bel Air. And wow, Belle Isle, I should say. Oh, there's contact through turn 2 between, I think it was Stewie Hall getting a little bit of a bump there. He's got away with it though, and he's remained in third place. It was Tixia giving him the big push and shove through the second corner. Sebastian up into P2 now. Nitschke holding on as they go through the braking zone. It compresses down there. You can see the drivers just trying to navigate their way. There's one of the Logitech cars having a bit of a look in the background. And further up, John Latham already up 2 spots, dicing here with Hunt and Kirby. John King's just in behind them as well, so it is really busy in the mid-pack. Wow-wee. There's a car around there, one of the HSR cars. That's Michael Dumbrell facing the wrong way at this opening lap, so not ideal for him. He'll need to try and find his way back up towards the front, but he's dropped 18 positions on this opening lap. Can you believe? Someone who's finding form straight away from season 11 into season 12 is Greg Favell. Out in front once again. Thanks, Deborah, for the stars too. Welcome aboard tonight. Welcome everyone tuning in for this split one from Thursday night delayed broadcast. And we've already got a few drivers needing to reach out to race control to chat about a few things. Check out the speed against the walls here, the concrete walls. As Favell crosses the line, here comes Jason Dixon. Dropped a position off the start. Paul Young's made up a position. Heading down now through turn 1 and 2. It is so tight. Big bump on the exit at 2. Pushes you out towards the fence. How good is it seeing Jason Benz back as well? He's got the Willy Bins car tonight. And XCM Racing. Nice livery there with Willy Bins, Mayhem Republic on the side. Gamble's made up 2 spots as well to be up into the top 11 now with McKnight in behind. So Jamie McKnight, someone who's won a lot of these championships for the V8 Vets, and tonight he's working his way just on the fringes of the top 10 and right behind Scott Gamble as we jump on board with McKnight. Now a drive-through penalty for Brenton O'Brien for an incident with Andrew Ritchie on lap 1. So O'Brien has his season 12 cut straight away, and he'll have to go through the pit lane, which will drop him to the rear of the field. Lap 3 is the opening of the pit window tonight. We saw last night the safety car being an opportunity for all drivers to jump in and take a pit stop. Those that didn't ended up having quite a difficult night of racing to try and get themselves back into it. Jason Benz now and Paul Young. We're on board with Benz, looking forward to Young, and you can see how close he is, riding up on the roof cam now, and he's tucked right in behind, just trying to get himself settled now into this new season. Like I said, he's had a little bit of time off from the V8 Vets. Drive-through penalty for Daniel Norris as well for an incident with Chad Viger on lap 1. So Norris in a bit of trouble as well. Second of 2 drive-through penalties to be handed out on the opening lap of this 53-lap race. So we saw, I think it was 4 safety car interventions last night. Wonder how many we'll get tonight in all this, as Benz has a look on Young. Down the inside, locks the rear brakes. Can he stop? But he does in the end. That was a big send. He did get it stopped. Now Young's got a little bit of an overlap, and he may sneak back through. Benz gives him lots of room. Young creeps up on the curb and remains in 8th place. 9th for Young. Sharp rounding out your top 10 at the moment. Behind them, Gamble, McKnight, Jeff Thomas in 13th place, sporting a new JWM eMotorsports livery tonight as well. And off he goes, currently sitting in 13th place. Anthony Visma's made up 7 spots in the opening 3 laps to be in 16th place. So the Taipan eSports driver is on a charge. He's just behind Christian Smart and also Michael Stewart, who are battling currently over this 14th place. Stewart's made up 3 spots in the opening part of this race. So this is the top tier of the V8 veterans you're watching tonight, folks, and Greg Favell out in front. Like I said, picking up where he left off last year and looking very, very racy from the get-go. Big thanks to all our sponsors. Quantum Tint Solutions, of course, back on board as the major sponsor for the series. TaipanEvents, obviously putting this together with Ben Anthony, and a big thanks to also A21 Coffee, SimSpec Engineering, and Racecraft. Great to have them back on board. And as we spoke about, Jeff Thomas is actually running a Racecraft rig, which he won, and absolutely loves it. So there you go. Dumbrell in the pits now. Hello, Keith Logan as well. Nice to have you here tonight. How are we doing? And everyone over on YouTube, I'll get to you shortly. We'll try and say some hellos. We'll definitely talk to some drivers tonight, hopefully. Throughout the race, we'll keep an eye on the green room for it to be populated with people that want to come and say g'day. Sebastian Tixia, nice to have him out there. Hopefully I'm saying that surname correctly. He's currently just staying within about 1.25 seconds of your leader, Favell. They've dropped Nitschke by about 5 seconds now from the lead, so they're looking very, very quick, these top 2. Nitschke at the moment in 3rd place. Like I said, 5.1 off the lead has Stuart Hall, then Jason Dixon back tonight for Taipan eSports, running the alternate livery. They've got 2 liveries out there, the Taipan cars. Then Damien Cairns, once again, he has really improved over the last couple of seasons. He finds himself in 6th place at the moment after a great qualifying effort. Then we've got Scotty Neck Minute McCune. Who authorised that name? I love it. Currently running in 7th place, Jason Benson, then Paul Young and Scott Gamble now up into 10th to round out your top 10. He's just ahead of Greg Sharp. We'll go down the order shortly and look at some other drivers. As always, if you're here to see someone in particular, especially if they've shared the stream even, and you're here because of that, let me know and I'll try and give them plenty of airtime. Chad Lewis, David Kirby, and John Latham just behind them as well. So, you know, I'm noticing a few drivers as down the inside. That's almost some contact there, but they got away with it. Dave Kirby's right on the back of this as well in the fishy car. There he is, having a look at Anthony Visma at the moment, who made that great start to the race, up 6 positions. Now Kirby is fighting to try and get through. John Latham back in 19th place. Didn't qualify so well tonight. He's been out of it for a little bit as well. Christine Cairns, welcome to the broadcast tonight. Hello, Dave Bordock as well. And we can put a few graphics tonight up on the screen. There's Christine saying, hey Luke, so happy that your veterans broadcast is back. Bring on the new season. Go Damien Cairns. He's doing very well again tonight inside the top 10. Travis Hunt, then John King. Stephen Banks in 22nd place, a little bit further back, the KFC car. Then it's Matt Van der Kram with Tim Nicol. Warren Davis, our saviour, for getting us a replay file there. He is tonight. And currently sitting in 25th place. He's made up 2 positions already. And in this pretty big battle here with Tim Nicol and Robert Crisdale. So they are fighting very well. So the most improved driver for this season, I've just been told, will be getting a a racecraft are giving away a Race Logic lap timer and $200 store credit for the most improved driver for season 12. So that's fantastic. Once again, John and all the team over there at Racecraft are getting right behind this series, and that's a great prize that will be given to a very deserved winner at the end of this season. So thanks, John, and all the crew at Racecraft. I'm heading over to the West in about a month's time, last show of the tour, so hopefully going to catch up, get a chance to go and see the Racecraft simulators in all their glory, which would be awesome. So, Damien Cairns, there he is at the moment. He's got a bit of damage on the left-hand side of the car. He's just keeping Scott Neckman McCune out from overtaking, and that's really creating a little bit of a bottleneck at the moment with Jason Bence and Paul Young right in behind. Let's jump on board with Bence in the XCM Racing Holden Commodore. 3 Mustangs at the moment in the top 10. In fact, the top 12, there's only 3 Mustangs, so a lot of Holdens up there tonight. Jason Bence, the number 100 car. Remember, he won season, I think it was season 10 or season 9. I'm thinking season 10. And no, season 9, it was definitely season 9. Jason Bence, the winner of this series, and then he's had a couple of seasons off. He's back now in P8 in this opening round for the top tier split 1, lap 7 of 53. A couple of the details that I read through last night regarding the Rick Viger always gives me the fantastic insight into fuel numbers and all that sort of thing. It's a 53 lap race with a maximum fuel burn of about 3.07 litres per lap. The starting tank, 50 litres, that's the limitation that's put on by the series. Gives you a range of about 16 laps under green flag conditions. And the fuel capacity of 77 litres gives a range of 25 laps. So the critical laps tonight, lap 3, we're already past that. Drivers can now come into the pits and fuel up to bring it home, or bring it home with one more stop, I should say. And then the second critical lap, lap 28. If you stop before lap 28, you're probably not going to make it home on fuel. So keep an eye on those numbers, keep an eye on the drivers who come into the pits, and we'll keep you up to date with that pit strategy as it pans out tonight. So the gap at the front, 1.6, there he is. Bit of clear air is, this is very reminiscent of the old days when Jamie McKnight would clear off out in front. And for Belle at the moment, a 1.7 second margin. Then Nitschke is still in third place, but 7.3 off the lead.
Look at that race control, 32.
Hunt's asking him to have a look. Now I'm just trying to see where Hunt is. He's Travis is down in 21st place. Asking race control to have a look at something, the Scorpion eSports driver. And he's elevated himself up into this top split, doing a great job at the moment. It's interesting, isn't it? 45 competitors kicking off this round tonight. It's a full house for split 1. It is mega busy. This series now, over 120 drivers getting out there and doing their thing. So it's got to be one of the most popular series on iRacing now, if not the most popular. So it's incredible. All the drivers over the age of 40, and incredibly close racing, as we see Christian Smart now, one of our quick drivers, currently back in 14th place. So the competition is so strong now. Quite often I look at some of these drivers and think, shouldn't they be up a little bit higher in the race? And then I realise that the whole game is just lifted to a new level. So no further action, Visma, for incident with Travis Hunt on lap 7. So just having a look at Cairns as well. This is Damien Cairns, still holding on to 6th place, up 1 position. Scott McCune also up 1 position. And Scott Gamble now, is he in the pit lane? He is. So here we are. Scott Gamble has come into the lane early tonight, and we just lost the replay on all the cars there for a sec, so we'll flick off Scotty. But he is in for his first scheduled pit stop, so he's decided to split this a little bit early, and we'll see where he comes out. He may come out a fair way back, and if he comes out with a bit of clear air in front of him, that could be a good strategy, because he was in the midst of that top 15 battle. So we'll just keep an eye on that. So Brenton O'Brien, I think, has served his drive-through penalty. He has. He's back in 38th place. I think Gamble's going to come out just with him, or just in front of him. No, Gamble just coming out of the lane now. So O'Brien, he's out about 3 or so seconds up the road from Scott Gamble. And then Dumbrell, who had that spin at the start, and I think some contact at the start as well, back in 40th place. Not an ideal opening start to round 1 for him. Hi Anita, and welcome aboard tonight. And everyone else that's over there commenting away on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, welcome. Keith saying, how do I manage to do work, band, commentate? Jesus, I do it today with a can of Red Bull in my hand. That's what it's become, unfortunately. So things are very, very busy for me at the moment. But we had a bit of stress, to be honest with this series, because we couldn't get a replay file. So basically, just to run into a bit of the technical jargon of how these delayed broadcasts work, the boys send me a replay file. I then load it up and commentate on it as if it's live, which is really cool when we can't do some of these events live. By the way, next Thursday we'll be 100% live from Le Mans. So, but the issue was that if you don't save the data for all the cars, we get these big gaps in telemetry and in picture data. So it means that it's basically unreadable and very hard to do a broadcast. So massive thanks to the 5 or 6 or 7, I think, drivers that uploaded their replay files. In the end, Warren Davis, winner chicken dinner. Big thanks to him to give us this nice, clear quality replay with all 63 positions written. That's, although there's not 63 cars out on the track, it needs to write the data at all times. So big thanks to Warren. Jason Bence now still locked in this battle with Damien Cairns. It is a tough circuit to overtake on. We saw that in the Split 2 race last night. Into the pits goes Jamie McKnight as well, so that's an interesting one. Usually a driver that would wait till the last minute to take his fuel stop. We're seeing tonight Jamie McKnight in very, very early. So he'll trundle down the lane. We'll see where he comes out, because he was relatively close to where Scotty Gamble was on the racetrack prior to the pit stop, so we'll see where he comes out. I'm just having a look. Gamble's in 37th place, ahead of Brenton O'Brien now, and chasing down Chad Viger for 36. Chad's up 9 spots. Good start for him. So here we go. We're right on board here with Scott Gamble down the pit straight, and let's see where he comes out. So McKnight's still in the lane. Christian Smart as well still in the lane. So there you go. Peter Morris saying, could you please read out all 45 driver positions and show each car? No. That would take too long. I will put the ticker across the top for you, Peter, if it interests you. I am trying to flick up and down the order as much as possible tonight, but to go through all 45 names would be a little bit pointless right now at this stage of the race. If you're wondering, if you're watching and you want to see at all times where drivers are, live telemetry available over at RACESTARSTV.com. So RACESTARSTV.com, load up the live timing, and you can watch where all the drivers are at any point during the race. So John Latham right now, Shadow Racing racecraft entry car all over the back of David Kirby. And let's ride on board with him for a moment now. So Latham right behind this Synergy Sim racing car. Chad Lewis and also Jeff Thomas are in the pits. Oh, contact on the wall there for Dave Kirby. Sorry, he's a Fishy Motorsports. That's not the Synergy Sim Racing. I was confused there by the West End Mazda on the back. So Kirby rubs the fence. That means Latham's got through. He finds himself up into 12th now, John Latham. 10 positions, so didn't qualify so well tonight, but he's definitely on the march, getting himself back up into this. And I'm looking back to see where the drivers are that have pitted early. Gamble's tucked in behind Chad Viger. He needs to clear him ASAP, because there's definitely, well, this is holding him up slightly, Scotty Gamble. He's on a different strategy now with that early pit stop, and he needs to just try and surpass him as quickly as possible and then get on with chasing after Todd Parks. Gamble is the top driver that has stopped. He's back in 33rd place. He's on the headlights, so he's letting him know. He's well aware that he's after him here and trying to sneak through. More contact with the fence, you can hear that. We're back on board with Scott Gamble now. And I reckon he's going to probably try and push for an overtake sooner than later. Scotty, so hard on the brakes now into this tight section now. This is where it gets a little bit tricky for the drivers on board in visor cam now with Gamble. Hard on the brakes once again, right up underneath the rear wing of that Ford Mustang. Just drops down to second gear mid-corner there. Just get a little bit of front end bite, most likely, in the car. But yeah, they're pushing super hard. There you go, all 46 names written across the top of the screen for you there. Get rid of that, we'll get the full telemetry back up on the screen. And this battle continues. So with Banks, McCune, Kennedy and Kirby all in the pits now, we're going to see this battle heat up back in the pack. This is for 30th place, now 29th as Gamble surpasses another driver. Lap 13 of 53 back on board with Scott now. And here he goes, lining him up for a pass. He might go down the inside on this one. If he releases the brake and tries to get through, Chad moves across. There's a tiny bit of contact, and there's a lot of contact between those two cars. And Viger turns around and drops a few positions there. So we've got Viger dropping back to 32nd. Gamble moves through to 28th place and has got a lot of damage on the front left of that car as well. So that's going to hurt him. And whether or not he's got away with that without getting the dreaded meatball flag as well, which will force you to make a pit stop. Oh, hello. We've got another car in the fence there. That was Todd Parks, wasn't it? So he's got plenty of damage. Now he's got Jamie McKnight right behind him as well. These are teammates, so surely Parks with all that damage will move aside and let Jamie through, and he does. He gets right out of the way with all that damage to the car, and he pulls up on the escape there. I wonder if he's got a bit more damage than we know about. Drive-through penalty for Scott Gamble for the incident, so Gamble's been given a drive-through for that one, and that's really going to hurt the rest of his race as we see the race leader now making his way through some lap traffic.
Thanks, Mike.
Belle just thanking the lap car as he goes through. Next one up the road for him, Matt Parker. So we're only on lap 14 of 53, and already Greg Favell carving his way through the lapped cars. So we're looking back then to McKnight, 21st place, and he's over a minute off the lead of the race. He is the first driver that has stopped for fuel though, and is just behind Scott Gamble, who will need to go to the lane shortly, so he'll be out of the way. And that will move him into the top 20. lap 16. We expect the rest of the field to probably come in at the end of this lap for fuel. It's limited obviously by what the series allow the drivers to start with. So 50 litres the starting fuel. Warren Davis, I think, just in the lane now from 11th place. Pavel's carried on for lap 16, so he'll be in next time around, no doubt. The gap back to Sebastian in second place now, 2.8 seconds. So he hasn't been able to run here with Pavel, but he's doing a much better job than Jason Dixon and Vance, who are back 14 seconds now from the lead. So it's a huge margin, isn't it? It's a lot more than I expected. I don't think we'll get these margins at other racetracks this season, but this opening round has really blown out at the front between the top three. It's Greg Sharp in 7th place. John King's done well, moved himself up into 8th place now. Travis Hunt 9th, and Chris Dale rounding out your top 10. He's up 14 positions. This will all change shortly once they do stop. I'm watching where Gamble is. He's still out on the racetrack. I don't think he's served that drive-through penalty yet. And he's got Jamie McKnight now breathing down his neck. Will Wilson just asking if Tixia, who's in the pits now, is new to the series or from a different split. Brand new to the series, so he's one of many debut drivers out there tonight. There's your race leader taking fuel. So the Blacktown Mazda Taipan eSports Holden Commodore taking fuel on board. And so is Tixia, Dixon, Vance, Hall, Young, Sharp. Crisdale's going to go through into the lead, I think. I don't think he's stopping for fuel. So you're right, there he is. Robert has got another lap or so in the tank as everyone else comes into the pits to fuel up. See how far he can go, and I think Sebastian has jumped in front of Greg Favell, so there you go. He decided to short fuel that car. He's taken 25.8 seconds worth of fuel, and ultimately that'll give him the lead of the race. You can see Greg Favell P2 once Crisdale comes in. Interesting, so I like that. He's obviously just gambled here on a bit of track position being worth a little bit more than taking that fuel on board, which you'll need to do obviously later in the race, that's for sure. Alright, so Greg Sharp at the moment, you can just see him in 14th place in this huge train of cars. We should call this the Belle train because it is massive at the moment. Looking back from Chad Lewis, who's come out as a privateer, even though he's running the Logitech livery on the car. Looks very Evolution Racing Team to me, but it's come up as privateer on the data that was given to us. So as Crisdale comes into the lane now, that puts Tixia into the lead. Sebastian moves off on his way, and well, 1.5 seconds clear of Favell. He can notch up that little note now saying that what's happened to Latham there? It's a bit of contact. I think we saw a big cloud of smoke, but yeah, as I was saying, Sebastian will be happy here to be able to just tick off, yep, led a few laps on my debut for the V8 Vets, the Belle Isle Express. I like that. Will?
Sorry, John.
So Jason Fuen's just letting us know that Sebastian's from Singapore, he thinks. So an international joining us for this V8 Vets series, which is fantastic. Someone can please tell me why my key accelerator keeps enabling itself. That would be fantastic. It must be mapped to a button which, for some reason, is bugging out and being pressed tonight. So if you see me bring the UI up every now and then, I do apologise. It's something to do with a bug going on. So Travis Hunt, he's got a drive-through penalty for that incident with John Latham. We heard that a moment ago spoken about. We saw a cloud of smoke. We didn't really see anything else as Tixia continues to lead the race. Now, after all that said and done, Gamble sits in 3rd place. He does have that drive-through penalty hanging over his head. Now, I'm not sure what the rules and regulations are on how soon he has to serve that penalty, but I'd say it'll be on this lap. It's probably been 3 laps since it was noted, and that will release Jamie McKnight up into 3rd place. And looking good for McKnight now after starting a fair way back. And we'll run through shortly the fuel numbers that were taken in the first pit stop, because that's going to determine the length of the second pit stop as into the pits. Unfortunately, Scott Gamble goes to serve that penalty. That releases Jamie McKnight now up into third place. So let's just take a moment to look at some fueling numbers for the first pit stop of this race. And we'll look at the pit lane stoppage time first of all. So you can see the top driver's 25.8 seconds. That was the time stationary for Tixia. It was 29.9 for Favell. McKnight took 25.6, so he also short fueled to jump ahead of Dixon and the likes. Dixon 32.1 seconds, so he's absolutely topped that off, that tank of fuel. And that will mean that he'll have a shorter second pit stop. Young 26.1, 26.3 for Thomas. Cairns 25.5. Bent's another driver that absolutely filled the tank. He put in 32.9 seconds worth of fuel. And rounding out the top 10, Lewis took 25.9 and 31.8. Greg Sharp also putting a stack of fuel in the car. So drive-through penalties being handed out, and I think Hunt was just reminded he needs to serve that as soon as possible. Seb's in the chat. Hello, Seb. Oi, oi, he says. Hopefully is it Tixia? Am I pronouncing your surname correctly? If not, say no, and we'll sort that out sometime between now and next week. But doing a great job out in front, leading at the moment, as I said, by a small margin, 1.1 seconds, but leading on debut in a V8 Vet Series. That's fantastic. Bonjour. So Gamble, after the drive-through penalty, he went back to 13th place. That's not so bad. It's just behind Nitschke, who, remember, was up there in the top 3 earlier in the race. So damage limitation for Gamble. He's still in this. There's a big crew of cars behind there too, with Gamble now getting past Nitschke down the inside, just carrying that damage with him. And now up into the top 12. Behind him, you've got Michael Stewart as well. Kirby, Scott McCune's in that little queue of cars. Then Stuart Hall, John Latham and John King. Before we get to Stephen Banks, your top 20. So it's Tixi, is that right? The R is silent. Tixi. Sebastian Tixi leading this race. And it's a French name. Fantastic, man. Great to have you in the series and doing very, very well. Tixi, excellent. Right, I got it right now, so that should be good. It was, I used to call Nitschke, I can't remember what it was, Niski I think it was, but we got that sorted out, so another one done. So Sebastian Tixi doing a great job and leading this race from Greg Favell, 1.4 seconds the margin. Jason Benz still holding. Oh, that was a touch on the fence there, wasn't it, for I think Dave Kirby, as they get really, really elbows out here. Kirby's got McCune fighting, trying to get through. Stuart Hall's behind him as well. And no further action. Travis Hunt and Tim Nicol for their incident on lap 20. Oh, wow, it's still on, isn't it? So McCune now dives to the left-hand side of the track, trying to get a little under and over here. There's contact on the exit of the corner. He might jump on board here with McCune. He's got an overlap, but he just can't get through. It's basically follow the leader through this part of the racetrack. But what a battle we're seeing here. With John King looking down the barrel of 18th place, Stuart Hall. How close do they get to the fence here? It's incredibly tight, the exit, we haven't had a safety car yet tonight. We saw 4 safety cars intervene last night in the Split 2 race. And generally the racing in this top tier is very, very... I love that shot off the fence. It is very, very clean. But surely you couldn't do a Belle without at least one safety car. Let's see what they've got in store for us. Back down the order, Travis Hunt is with Brian Goody. This is over 24th place. Then we go further back to Kennedy and Paul Preston as we look down into 30th place. Let's jump on board here with Paul Preston, who gets a good exit out at 2. And having a look, in fact, at Kennedy and Flavel in front. Kennedy's going to go down the inside on Dean Flavel, and Paul Preston says, I'll have a helping of that as well, thank you very much. And positions the car well. He should be able to get him through the next right-hander, which he does. And Dino hung out to dry. Will he try and stay in there, Dean Flavel? No, he doesn't. He has to give up that position. So back to 31st for Flavel. Andrew Hoffman just in behind there in that brand new Pecky Performance Racing livery. Check it out. I don't know who painted that livery, but that is an absolute ripper. Whoever did that, give him a pat on the back. As we watch Nitschke now still battling here with Kirby's right behind. Oh, there's contact there with McCune into the back of Kirby. And secondary contact with Latham as well. He's mugged McCune. And I think he might have broken something there. He's going towards the pit lane. No, he's not. He stays out. But they're really getting the elbows out, these guys. You can see Dave Kirby's missing the whole back end of that car. So there's definitely been a big moment there for him to rip the full assembly off the rear. And now he dives down the inside on Nitschke. And it looks like he'll get it stopped, does he? Nitschke hangs around the outside. Wheel to wheel, these two. No love lost. Nitschke still on the outside. Turns across. Oh, both of them into the fence. Both of them into the wall at the same time. Some synchronized slipping there. And they fall back a heap of positions. Kirby's, it's almost blocked the track there. Wow, this is busy. It's like peak hour. 7 or 8 or 9 cars involved in this scrap. And how about the hit? How about the hit in the fence? How about the noise of that camera? Oh my God, blew my eardrums out. Have a look at that on the small screen replay. You'll see the synchronized sliding between Nitschke and there it is, into the fence. Look at that, bang. So I don't know if there was any contact involved in that, but both drivers are going to cop a lot of damage from that. Seb saying, I don't know if the commentator also does the production. Yeah, I do. Mate, I do the whole lot here. It's a one-man show. I click the buttons and I talk loads of all night. Drive-through penalty for Dave Kirby for the incident with Brenton Nitschke. Post-race reviewed and incorrectly issued, so a 10-point awarded to the car 307. So there you go. There was a drive-through given to Kirby live in the race, and then he was given back some bonus points as it was reviewed and overturned in a post-race investigation. So there you go. So Dixie's still leading out in front. Sebastian doing a great job here, holding Flavel out. It's now 0.4 of a second though. And your reigning champ is getting closer and closer in the Taipan eSports Holden Commodore. We'll try and right on board for a moment here. Let's jump into some visor cam with Greg Flavel because I think it's about to get pretty interesting. So Greg Flavel lining up a move here on Sebastian, but is he just happy to save fuel? He'll know that Sebastian took less fuel to jump him in the pit lane. So he's got a pretty calm head here, Greg Flavel. I'm sure he'll just be biding his time now as we ride into this tight little section now through the left. And then you're basically just fighting the car through here, putting a lot of load through the right-hand front and rear tyres. And then this tricky little curb can catch you out. It can put you up on two wheels very, very quickly there if you get that wrong. A fantastic battle going on for the lead of the race. Jamie McKnight, by the way, next in the queue, now 22 seconds off this lead battle. So it's a 22-second gap between first and third. That is incredibly huge. So like a shark, he's hunting him down. Lap 26, almost at the halfway point of this race tonight. We might see if we can hear from some drivers that are willing to come in for a bit of a chat. Feel free to come across to the green room now and I'll drag you in when it's a good time as we continue to watch this battle for the lead on lap 26. Jason Dixon, thanks man, says great stream so far. Go Taipan, doing well. Is Rue running or is his hand still bung? Not sure if Rue is on this week. Hopefully he's mending and feeling a lot better. Brenton O'Brien says, is ketchup, here we go, we'll put this one up on the screen. Is ketchup considered a smoothie since tomatoes are considered a fruit? I have no idea. So for Belle, now within 2 tenths, trying to find a way through. Let's jump down onto the nose camera. See if you can line him up maybe along the pit straight here. It's a bit of a risky place to put a move on. Maybe down the end of this front straightaway, the boulevard, if you can just bide his time and get a good exit out of 2 over the bump. Here he goes. So watch the exit now. Important to get this perfectly right out to the fence. Bit of oversteer for Tixie on the exit of 2. May find him vulnerable then at the end of this straightaway. Favell doesn't have a look. So it's clear air. You can see Travis Hunt next in the queue. He's actually down a lap. And you've got to go a long way back to find Jamie McKnight. Just going through turn 1 now. 22 seconds off the lead. Jason Fewan said he gargled ketchup once to win a bet. Didn't end well. I bet it didn't end well. Good battle with Paul Preston. This is down with Matt Parker. These drivers down just outside the top 25. Matt Vanderkran, Angry Birds Racing, 25th place. Some damaged cars down here. It's a trademark of this circuit to see both sides of the car usually all dinged up, but there's boot lids missing off cars, rear wing assemblies in the garbage bin, you name it. But Preston at the moment up 4 spots with Todd Duggan as well. We haven't seen Todd yet tonight. There he is in the Nova Motorsports entry car in 28th position. Nice job. So we got trouble for Dave Kirby. He's going to keep it running, I think, but about 3 or 4 cars made some contact with him. And I thought for a second we may get our first safety car, but we don't. There's Travis Hunt just going through past Kirby now for 35th place. Tim Nickel 37th. Now is Brenton Nitschke out of the race? It looks like we may have lost Nitschke. Christian Smart still running, but has dropped back a long way. Jason Bentz out of the race, Dumbrell out of the race, Todd Parks and Daniel Norris all out of the race. So we've had some retirements early on in this first race of the season. 7/10 of a second cover the top 2. So Tixie now has been able to hold his own here from Greg Favell. He's actually pulling away slightly. And It's also important to note we are now inside that window for the second pit stop, and lap 29 we were told that so I've just been told Rue's not running this season in the V8 vet, so that's it's got other things to concentrate on. No Mark Duggan either, no Vargs and no Tyburn, so those 4 drivers in particular, some well-known names from the series. No Rue, no Mark Duggan, no Vargs and no Tyburn for this season 12. Let's hope they come back for season 13. Mark Duggan tuning in from Uluru. That sounds like a nice place to be. How are you, mate? How's the big red rock out there? Definitely a place I've got to go back and see sometime. I went to Uluru in... I'm trying to remember when it was. In fact, what I'll do, I'll quickly... For a bit of trivia here, I'll quickly YouTube... I'll see if I can just quickly YouTube myself at Uluru. I actually did a charity drive to raise money for Parkinson's. At the time I had a little Austin Healey Sprite, which I used to do some club racing in, and I drove it all the way from Southern Highlands here to Uluru, and it was an absolute ripper of a day, and definitely something I'll never forget. There's a shot of it there. Cruising into Uluru in my little bug-eye Sprite, which I no longer have. But wow, what a place! Back when I had very, very jet black hair. So fantastic place to be, Mark, and keep it safe out there. It's there it is, some shots. There's yours truly. Yeah, that one's for sure. There's a picture. It's an old one, 10 years ago. Drove out there to raise some money for Parkinson's disease, which is a horrible disease. Anyone that's had someone affected by that will know all about how awful it is. Back to the action. Paul Young, 5th place, up 5 spots into the top 5. What a great drive by the Banter Alliance. Those that are new to the series will probably, or watching this series, will not know about the teams that were amalgamated put together at the end of last season to make this new Banter Alliance racing team, and they are doing well. This top split, we've got one of them in 5th place, a couple more doing very, very well in the race. We've got Jason Fewens back there in 26 as well, and Warren Davis 28th at the moment. Andrew Ritchie's just gone for his 2nd pit stop, and I'm looking down the list. Robert Crisdale is in the lane, so he's going to come in from inside the top 10 to make his stop. Now this is the 2nd and final pit stop. Let's see how this pans out for him with just on 22 laps to go in the race. You sound shorter than you look, says Jason Fewens. I'm 6'2". Yeah, I'm 6'2". Not a short guy. It's definitely a squeeze to sit in a bug-eye Sprite, that's for sure. Righto, so we are starting to see some more drivers into the pit lane, which I always excited about the final pit stop because it gives us a true indication of where drivers are at after the fuel levels have been equalised, because you've got drivers that have taken short splash and dashes in the first stop, drivers that took extra long stops, drivers such as Jason Dixon, for example. There he is in 4th place. Now, he took a huge amount of fuel on board, 32.1 seconds in that first stop. So he's obviously going to be able to have a nice little short splash and dash for the 2nd stop. Jokin's in the house. Hello, Jokin. Jason Fewens, 6'5". Yep, you would be a shoehorn into a go-kart. Seb's a huge 163 centimetres. It's not too bad. What's that in feet? That's what, 5'8", 5'9"? Oh, was that a car on its lid? I'm pretty sure that was a car on its lid back there, and I'm just trying to see who that was. It was one of the this could be a safety car. It wasn't McCune, it was one of the hypersonic racing cars. Upside down, not looking good. Now Dumbrell's back in the pits, it wasn't him. We got safety car. Anyway, lap 32, we should see a massive amount of cars come into the pits. It's not Michael Stewart. Now, is it? Just try and pick up who is. It's, unfortunately, it's not giving me an indication of the upside down car. It's definitely a, is it definitely one of the hypersonic racing cars? We'll get there eventually. We'll find it, who it is. Unless you guys can tell me quicker. Definitely was HSR. So I'm flicking through now to try and find which ones are still indicated as on the racetrack, although upside down. So it's not Scotty McCune. Michael Stewart's okay as well. Dumbrell's back in the pits. Who's the other one I'm missing? Anyway, we'll let it roll, but upside down, and we've got Belle in the pits. Now Seb hasn't come into the pits. So lap 33, we've got to rush into the pit lane now for the second pit stop. And it looks like Greg Favell has come out in front. Now is there a bit of overtaking going on here under caution? What's happened there? The safety car is there on the straightaway. These drivers have gone through. Favell's just put it in the fence, and there's another crash there as well. So I'm not sure how much safety is being taken on board here behind the safety car. So we'll just pick up where the safety car is shortly. It is Dave Coleman tonight in the Porsche safety car. There he is, Fishy Motorsports driver. We'll be out there to pick up the race leader, who's Sebastian, who's now gone into the pits. So let's just have a look where Greg Favell is. Now remember, Greg stuck it in the fence. He's done a heap of damage to the left-hand side of the car. So, okay, so we'll get to the bottom of this. Looks like the safety car, there was a bit of a mix-up, and the race control message didn't get across, which means that we're going to have to wait. They had to wait an extra lap or so. Now, how will this pan out? The safety car was well and truly clear on the racetrack for these drivers. There's still overtaking going on here. So, wow. Mike was muted apparently for the Michael Massey running the race. So I'm just trying to see, is the safety car still out there?
Greg, you are here. Anyone got comps from race control or not?
Yeah, so we're just going to mute the race control for a moment. But the safety car's definitely out there now. It has picked up Greg Favell. Now it's picked up your race leader, Favell. Tixie's just behind, so Sebastian's running P2. And all is good. We've got a lap car in there as well, don't we? The Hoff. So the Hoff's in the mix of that. And look at that damage to the left-hand side of your race leader's car. So that's, will that be costly towards the end of this race? That little mistake, put it into the tyre barrier. Right, while we're under caution here, I'm just going to take a sec to take 30 seconds, grab myself a quick drink, and get ready for the last, what should be a classic 18 or 19 laps of this race. Be back in about 2 minutes. under caution on lap 35 of 53. Just a lot of wave rounds being given at the moment. That's why you can see drivers going around the queue and the safety car to get themselves hopefully back on the lead lap. We're going to do one more lap by the sounds of it behind the safety car. We'll just tune in and listen to a little bit more of race control's instruction here.
Chad and Scott.
There's a lot going on out there, so thanks Anita. So basically, because the race leader didn't hit, safety car couldn't pick him up in time, so they had to do the extra lap. That's why that happened. And there you go. They think that's me rocking the bonnet of the safety car. Who is it on the front of the safety car? I was trying to work that out last night. So Dave Coleman's in the safety car, and I was trying to find out who's on the front of there. Is it Dave Coleman himself? How can we get a good view? We'll try the overhead shot. Definitely not me. Anyone know who that is? So Greg Favell now back in the box seat to win this race. He's ahead of his main rival. They've compacted the field with the safety car, which brings Dixon and McKnight back into this as well. Remember, there was a 22-second gap between second and third place prior to the safety car. One more lap behind the safety car. So running down the order, everyone's now made their second pit stop. And looking at our biggest movers and shakers, Warren Davis has made up 11 spots into 16th. Behind him, Marty Hansen has made up 19 to be 17th. Chad Vigas 21 positions up into 24th tonight. Great drive. And Dean Favell, we should give him a shout out to the Dino Machine. DF eSports, he's made up 16 places into 28th spot. Some drivers we've lost tonight. We've lost Michael Power, didn't start the race. Daniel Norris, Todd Parks, Dumbrell, Jason Benz, Nitschke and Crisdale all out of the race. Good to have Jason back. Says love being back in the series after being in the States working on a feature film. Great bunch of guys. Good to have back to Jason. It is it's a mega series, isn't it, as far as the quality of racecraft and the drivers out there, all over the age of 40. And it's very well run as well. So I've got something just to chat about quickly. It's it's V8 Vets, or Vets 360 on Friday nights. It's Johnny and Baldock. There they are. Vets 360. Friday nights. I like it. They look very, very, very switched there, don't they? They scrub up all right, those two. Maybe Ben, you should come and tell us all about what this V8 Vets 360 is. Is this what they're calling? Is this the new driver's lounge? Is this? Am I missing something here? It's no longer the driver's lounge. It's now Vets 360. I like that if that's true. Good to see Dave Baldock there with the shirt, on, and nice jacket. Very good. So Vets 360 Friday nights for Split 3 is me reading between the lines there. As we're about to go back to green flag racing here, as the Porsche safety car gets out of the way, and they talk about everything apparently. So how cool is that? So we get set now to blast back for, what is it, lap 37 of this race. Green light comes on. We're back to full speed racing. Check it out. goes on. We're back under green conditions, and Favell leads from Tixie, Dixon, and McKnight and Young, your top 5. They're compressed now. McKnight, what can he do? Can he get himself on the podium? We're on board with him now, looking at the back of Jason Dixon. Some fast drivers in this top 10, isn't there? Paul Young, he's had some wins for PRA, now Banter Alliance in this top split of this series. He's now running 5th. Jeff Thomas, another fantastic performance for JWM eMotorsports, well inside the top 10. Greg Sharp-Cans, Stewart and Chad Lewis, another debutant for the series, currently running 10th ahead of Scott Gamble, who's got himself back into this, and his teammate almost lost it there. You can see Gamble still carrying that damage from earlier on. And how about the nose-to-tail racing between the teammates here? This is for P10. So we've got a car in the fence. You can actually see that well in the background of that shot. As the smoke clears, probably can't focus it up. You can just see the smoke well in the background there, clearing up. And someone had definitely gone around. They've got it sorted now. But like I was about to say, safety cars tend to breed safety cars at a place like Belle Isle. Is that Craig Friend going very slowly? It is. So I'm not sure if he's having to give back time there or if he's actually got a problem. Tim Nicol goes through in another of the Pecky performance cars. I laugh every time I see that livery. It's so cool. So he's got the orange highlights there with the big eyeball. Oh, he's out of shape. Out of shape big time. Someone else was out of shape behind too. There's a car off the track there. And that's Nitschke, I think, who's back out into the field of play, but went for a big slide there into the wall and now finds himself 38th and at the back of the pack. I tell you what, Seb putting some pressure on here for Belle. He rubs the fence again, so for Belle, the left-hand side of that car is getting a real workout. And I'll tell you what, Seb is not letting him get away. There's 0.3 of a second now, the gap. Now what that pit stop did under caution as well, allowed those drivers that took the shortish first pit stop to then go and put stacks of fuel in, fuel it right up to the end. And Seb can give this 10/10 now. Jason Dixon as well, hanging on. McKnight not too far behind, the top 4, separated by 1.8 seconds. So Scotty McCune on the back of John King now. There's Hansen and Davis towing the line as we're about to start lap 39, lap 40. Will give us 14 to go. Down the inside, the Banter Alliance car. Warren Davis having a little bit of a look now, and Hansen then dives out of it. Meanwhile, at the front, we'll stay with this battle for a moment. Let's jump on board here with Seb. P2070 Ford Mustang. We've got 2 Fords now in the top 3. Andrew Hoffman back in 25th. We haven't seen much of the Hoff tonight. It's good to see him out there circulating around. 15 spots he's made up so far tonight. And he's just behind Brenton O'Brien, who is in 24th place, up 8. Chad Viger in front of him. Then you've got Richie Kennedy and Brian Goody up in 20th place. The Juiced Frog Leap Racing team starting lap 40 now, so he's chasing down Anthony Visma, who's just in front in 19th place, and Stephen Banks in the KFC car, Century Motorsport, running 18th place. On board with Stephen Kennedy for M1 Racing. He's got a good view in front. He's trying to chase down Brian and then Anthony and Stephen Banks if he can get there. Puts him inside the top 20. Good points because it is the first round of the series. You want to try and come away with a good haul of points to set yourself up well. Remember, there's no drop rounds in the final few rounds of the series, so you need as many good performances as you can get early on. Don't rely on the fact you can drop a couple. Try and bank as many as you can as we see this compact into the mid part of this lap. This gets so squishy through here. All the drivers trying to find their way through. Look at the pack of cars in front there. There's 6 or 7 cars within a second. And the exit, there's a slow moving car there as well. I think that Stephen Banks was a little bit slow. Back on board with Brian. He's going to have a look to the inside here of Visma. Then he backs out of it. Now he gets a fantastic exit. Oh, a bit of contact between them. A lot of contact between them into the wall. So Goody's basically, oh, and he's been absolutely punted. I think he's gone across the racetrack there, and the Hoff has tried to avoid the incident, and the Hoff has been caught up in that one, and that is absolutely stoved into the fence there for the Hoff. And the Pecky, I'll tell you what, the Pecky eyeballs are right out of their head right now. So, big hit there, unfortunately, for Andrew Hoffman. And he's stuck down there in the barrier. This could be another safety car. So we'll listen out. He's definitely in the wall. We do have that on a quick replay.
Oh, 51, you're free to tow.
No, he's getting given the tow, so they've let him go. So the early contact was there. Goody made contact with one of the Banter cars, and he went across the track. Now watch this, he goes to the right now. Hoff tried to avoid it. Hoff was already committed to the right-hand side of the track. And he probably should have just held his line there, because that's created a massive crash. So Hoff's out of this one, unfortunately for him. And I reckon Goody might get a little bit of a penalty for that one. As Jokin said, absolutely poleaxed. He was too. No further action for Jason Fewens for the incident with him and Brian. We'll see what happens for Brian and the Hoff, though, as we see your race leader Greg Favell still leading this race over Seb, who's within 0.3 of a second running with him. Dixon there is also still within 1.2 seconds, and McKnight lurking in the background. So I'm impressed with this debut drive from Seb. Tixie's all over the back of our reigning champion Greg Favell for Taipan eSports, and he's got a fantastic exit and run down the back straightaway now on him. This is super close. He backs out of the throttle. Favell goes very defensive very early there. That'll set him up in a bad way. And how about the dive down the inside into this section of the track? They're wheel to wheel through one of the tightest sections of the racetrack. Favell still just in front. Tixie will send it round the outside and maybe dive down the inside, which he does. Incredible. There's contact. There's contact with the leaders. Can you believe? Into the fence. Greg Favell's in the fence, folks. Incredible. And there's more contact. There's secondary contact. Favell stuck in the fence. Tixie gets out now. Then there was more contact there. I think John Latham's just been spun around as well. Latham's gone around too in the background. So there's a lot going on. Jason Dixon now leads the race from Jamie McKnight and Paul Young, can you believe? So the two drivers leading this race have got together on lap 42, and they've gone around and into the fence. Oh my gosh, that was massive for the championship early on, round number 1, because these two are trying to establish a little bit of dominance here, and they've come together. Now Jamie McKnight is trying to get past Jason Dixon here for what will be a victory. So a 10-point post-race penalty there for Seb for the incident with Greg Favell. Here it is. So they went wheel to wheel. Just keep an eye bottom of your screen. We'll try and give you a bigger look at that shortly. You don't see a lot from that angle. Let me see if I can get that. And then you got a... So here's a better look at it. We'll stay live down the bottom. So they went wheel to wheel through there. Then Tixie just sends it down the inside. And was there the slightest bit of contact there? He then makes contact into the fence, but that has cost both those drivers a chance at a win tonight. So Jason Dixon leads. McKnight is all over him. And there you go, 10-point post-race penalty for Greg Favell for unsafe rejoin, causing the incident with John Latham. So that was the secondary incident that we saw in that one. Wow. So there's a lot going on now, and Jamie McKnight, he looks like he's got enough speed to challenge Jason Dixon, who's gone defensive very early down towards turn 3. And down the outside, McKnight will try and hang out there. He's gone in super deep, almost puts it in the fence. McKnight now dives around trying to find a way through. Lap 44, we've still got 10 laps to go. So there's plenty of time here not to force an error and stick it in the fence. So hopefully People's Champion is all over it, and he realizes he's got so many more laps to do this cleanly. Paul Young within 1.5 seconds too, now breathing down a podium. So's Jeff Thomas, you know. He's with 2.7 seconds off the lead of this race. Super close. So Jason Dixon coming back after a season or so off. Leads on lap 44 from Jamie McKnight, Paul Young, Thomas Sharp, Damien Cairns, yeah, 6th place for him. Scotty Gamble, what a race he's had, up into 7th now after a drive-through penalty and the likes. Inside the top 10, Michael Stewart, Chad Lewis on debut as well, and Seb in 10th place. He's still in the top 10 after all of that shenanigans that went on earlier, so wow. Interesting race. Oh, McKnight with a big send coming off too. He got such a good exit out of there, and he's now into the lead of the race. So the People's Champion leads. Now I can tell you, Jamie took 24 seconds worth of fuel. He took a huge amount of fuel in that second pit stop, so he's good to the end of this race. And I'll tell you what, if he has, oh, we got a safety car. There you go. Just when I was getting a bit excited there. Now, interesting, was the safety car boards and flags out prior to that move?
At the same time as we're report. Sorry, Jason, once again, I had no fucking idea whatsoever that the safety car had been called.
Okay, so I do apologise for that one. But there was, so that was Jamie just saying he had no idea the safety car had been called. So obviously the mics weren't working last night from race control to the drivers. Hence there was an overtake there. Now let's, how have they played this out? Jason Dixon's been given the position back, and Jamie's then jumped back to P2. So wowee. Let's hope race control don't deem that a penalty, even though usually passing under safety car is a slam dunk offence, so for a drive-through penalty. But if there was an issue with comms, hopefully they'll let that slide, and we should get another look at a battle between these two towards the end of the race. So a late minute safety car here is once again going to compress the whole field, and yeah.
You want me to quit this shit already, mate?
McKnight P2 and Paul Young P3. So let's have a look at an overview of the top 10 right now, with Sebastian still in 10th place. And notably, I'm looking back to find John Latham. He's out of the race. Sadly, no further action. Jamie McKnight for passing under safety car. No comms from race control, so there you go. It was deemed an error with race control not being able to talk to the drivers. Hence why the position was given back and no penalty given to Jamie McKnight. Greg Favell, 16th place. That's the driver I was looking for. So after that incident, he now finds himself back in the pack, 6 places behind Sebastian. And with about 7 laps to go, maybe about 6 once we go green, depending on how many laps this safety car's out for. A lot of cars getting the wave around here, getting their lap back. Once again, I'm going to take a 30-second break here. Be back with you to bring out the end of the race. This is going to be a ripping finish. It's all closed up. It's locked out. Dixon leads McKnight and Young. Don't go anywhere. 8 to go.
race control, I've still got to go around. You go around once already? No. I've been trying to catch a train. Yeah, you can go around, but we're going to get going pretty soon, so you're going to be half a lap behind. We can do an extra lap to catch up, I have no problem.
So lap 47 and 53, Jason Dixon
Let's get going, eh?
just saying he's very happy to do one extra lap behind the safety car and knock an extra lap off, but
No, well, that's right anymore. Yeah.
Jamie McKnight saying, no, let's get on with it, let's get
more drive around.
back into the race, and I think he wants to charge and have another attacking moment like he did just prior to the safety car. He looked very, very quick, swarming all over the back. Jason Dixon, so the wave around there for Friend, is it? It's heading off into the distance. Jason Dixon just putting a little bit of a gap now between himself and second, staying right behind the Porsche safety car. He's ready to get going, that's for sure now. So he's got to concentrate one on the restart. We saw a couple of different restarts last night in split 2. Some guys, I think the first restart he waited right to the control line. Then the second one went a little bit earlier. What will Jason Dixon do on this restart with Jamie McKnight? Will he hang back, hold back? So safety car's pulling away. We hear from race control there as the Porsche safety car disappears off into the distance, and Jason Dixon now has control of the field. Jamie McKnight in behind, and Paul Young and Jeff Thomas, don't count them out as well for maybe picking up the pieces if something goes wrong at the front here. Right, we're underway, green light, lap 48, 6 to go. Green light, and McKnight is half a second behind off the restart there. Jeff Thomas staying within touch as well. Greg Sharp has driven well in this race, up 7 positions to be in 5th ahead of Cairns, but let's stay focused on this lead battle because we're going to see a very... Oh, there's a spinner in the background. That's Sebastian. I think he's hit the fence and he's gone right around, coming onto the pit straight. Lost a bit of tyre temperature maybe, but it's going to drop all the way back, unfortunately, with that incident. But Jason Dixon now has to just have his elbows nice and sharp and ready to defend as much as possible from Jamie McKnight, because it's going to come. It's just a matter of time now. Will it be this lap? Will it be the next? Will Jamie leave it with the lap to go? I think it'll be sooner than later. I think Jamie wants to take out the first win of this season, this brand new season, and start on the right foot for what's going to be a big season 12 with some interesting tracks. We're going to a whole range of cool tracks in this series. We're heading to Le Mans next week, then Oran Park, Laguna Seca, Sandown on the 14th of July. Hanging out for that one, Monza, Sebring, Phillip Island, Suzuka, the Nordschleife, Imola and Alton Park. It's going to be a massive season of racing, and what better way to kick it off than with a race win. Jason Dixon at the moment looking like he's got the goods. He'll cross the line here, 7/10 clear. Incredible job. As we're just watching now in the background, they've dropped Jeff Thomas slightly there for 4th place. Lap 49, the field's spreading out a little bit. Damien Cairns there. Scotty Gamble with all that damage. He's got damage on both sides of the car. Still running inside the top 10 though, so fantastic job tonight. Dave Kirby, he's got his car all repaired after that earlier damage. And Brenton O'Brien in front of him. This is 18th and 19th. Dean Favell has driven 24 positions through the field tonight for P20. And that's to be commended. That's a good drive. As Marty Hansen is another one for the Taipan eSports team. He's up into 14th, up 22 spots. Another driver that's really driven out of his skin tonight, so well done back with the lead duo though, and it is a duo because they're pulling away from Young. 1.3 seconds now the gap. Looking back from Jason Dixon's Taipan eSports car now. How is this going to play out with, well, 4 laps to go at the end of this one? Gap now 0.6 of a second. Just taking a little bit of pressure off McKnight. The fact that Paul Young has dropped back slightly as well. The top 3 looking pretty secure away from Jeff Thomas as well. He hasn't been able to run with him. The lap pace is well in the 29s. We saw last night only one driver in split 2 dip into the 29s. We're seeing pretty much all the drivers inside the top 10 of this split 1 break into the 1:29 lap. So it just goes to show how quick this top tier is of the V8 veterans. Stuart Hall on the back of Chad Lewis in the running the Evolution Race team colours tonight, even though it says privateer. And Scotty Neck Minute McCune having a dive now on Stuart Hall as well. He's fought back well. Scott, considering he's been in the wars, he's got no front bonnet on this car. The bonnet's been removed. The front's a bit stoved in as well, so he's had a hit with something, a wall or another car. So yeah, back with Dixon now. He's got the gap out to over a second. He's looking good. The back end of the car sliding slightly, but I don't think tyre wear is going to be an issue with only a few laps to go. And it's still Jason Dixon, Jamie McKnight and Paul Young, your top 3. There's Young coming through. So some good packs, good battles in the mid-pack here. This is Stewie Hall still trying to keep out McCune. This has now brought also John King, another of the JWM cars, into this battle. He's now closed up right onto the back of McCune. Lap 51 of 53, running out of laps now. Bit of a touch on the fence there for McCune. Spatial awareness, just a little bit off tonight with those impacts earlier. And Stewie Hall once again. Hall gets a better exit. McCune lit up the rear tyres, and that may pay in the favour of Hall at the end of this straightaway. Keeps him out. Meanwhile, back at the front, the gap 1.8 now, so Dixon's driving away with this. I wonder if McKnight didn't put enough fuel in the car. He's not being able to run at the same pace, that's for sure. The last lap was a 29.5 for Dixon, a 29.8, so 0.3 slower. In fact, it was nearly a 29.9. It was a 29.86 for McKnight, so just on 3.5 slower was Jamie than Jason Dixon on the previous lap. This one looks even quicker because he's edged that margin out to 2 seconds now. He does a 29.5, McKnight does a 30.6, so a full second slower on lap 51 was McKnight. 2 laps to go. Jason Dixon looks like he's going to get a win tonight if he can keep this up. McKnight, maybe a little bit of fuel saving issue here. Let's have a listen on board. Doesn't sound like it. He's still using full throttle right to the braking zone. He's just got to hang on now to try and keep it in P2 for this race. Just a lap and a half to go. Young starting to swarm all over the back of him. So 10-point post-race penalty for Warren Davis for an incident with Peter Vanderkrant on lap 51. I reckon he should get these 10 points given back to him for giving us a fantastic replay file. So thanks, Warren, once again, saving the day, and all the other drivers that uploaded too, thank you. As we go down now to the final lap of this race, and Jason Dixon about to take the white flag shortly. 2.3 seconds out in front, looking very, very comfortable. Dixon comes across the line shortly to take the white flag. 1 to go. The gap 2.4 seconds in control. It's been a masterclass this last portion of the race since the safety car. He has looked so good out there. He just does another 1 minute 30 flat, 3/10 quicker than McKnight. There's the gap back to Jamie and wagging the tail again. Young goes through, then Thomas, Sharp, Cairns and Gamble go through in 6th, 7th. Then you've got Stewart, Lewis, Hall, King, Favell up into the 12th place now with Hansen, Bisma, Ritchie, Viger, O'Brien, Kirby, Hunt and Favell, your top 20. But Jason Dixon, welcome back to the series, he says, with a race win, only half a lap to go. In the background, Paul Young, close, but how close can he get to the back of Jamie McKnight? Can he steal this P2 away? Jacob Neasley thinks that McKnight sounds like he's protecting the engine. He definitely changed his style of driving to protect the engine. He's been very vocal about that. Not using as much engine braking. And it seemed to have worked since. We haven't seen him blow too many of late, touch wood. Someone who wouldn't want to blow an engine right now is the Taipan eSports driver, Jason Dixon. He's only got a couple of corners to go now. Keep it off the fence, keep it nice and tidy. 2.4 seconds up the road, you don't need to do anything silly. He's going to take a win, this bloke. Jason Dixon wins round number 1, split number 1 of the V8 Veterans. What a great drive. Incredible drive. Jamie McKnight gets P2. Incredible job. 3rd goes to Paul Young. Jeff Thomas gets 4th. Sharp gets 5th ahead of Cairns and Gamble. Then we wait for Michael Stewart to come through in 8th. Lewis and Hall get the top 10 tonight. But Jason Dixon, what a finish for him. We'll have a look shortly and a chat to the drivers. We might even go and try and review that incident between Favell and Tixie, if we can go and find it quickly. But what a finish to the race. That was an absolute grandstand, and Jason Dixon comes away on top. Round number 1 victor. Let's get the results up on the screen, and then we'll run through a quick chat with the drivers. So Jason Dixon, your race winner for Taipan and eSports, ahead of Synergy Sim Racing's Jamie McKnight for P2 and Paul Young, your top 3. What a performance tonight by those 3. Jeff Thomas just outside the podium in 4th. Great drive. Greg Sharp 5th. Also notably fantastic drive tonight. Greg Favell finished 12th in the end, as we see some other drivers down there that obviously got caught up in incidents. The Hoff 26th. Sebastian Tixie on debut finished 34th in the end. Dumbrell 41st place. Didn't really get away tonight. Had some incidents at the start. Plenty of drama, that's for sure. Let's go across now to the broadcast booth. And we've got Jason Dixon standing by. Congratulations, Jason, on a fantastic win, mate. Round number 1, split number 1 of the V8 Vets. You're back with good form, man. Well done.
Oh, sorry. Helps if I press the actual push to talk button. But yeah, totally unexpected. I'm absolutely flat out with work, trying to catch up with nearly 2 months away. But yeah, so jumped in, did a couple of sessions, and yeah, things fell my way.
Yeah, and a bit of luck as well went your way with that incident between the top 2, but you capitalised. You had to withstand the pressure of Jamie McKnight, which is not an easy thing to do, but you held him out for a race win.
Yeah, I knew with it being pretty hard to pass here, if I was fine for the first lap or 2, I thought I was pretty fine, but yeah, I had the pace to be able to pull a few tenths a lap, and that was what I needed to do.
Well done, mate. Well, no one else has come to join us, so who would you like to thank for your victory tonight?
I'd like to thank a couple of personal sponsors first, Connection Concepts and Amp Boutique. Also, all the team sponsors, Sinspec Engineering, the Great Wall Motor Group, all their different brands. We also got SimRigs, CardFX, and just everyone in the team helped me getting back up to speed this week. Have been fantastic.
Well done, mate. And we've got P2 joining us as well. Jamie McKnight's come in at the last minute before I was about to shut it all down. Jamie, well done, mate. What a race at the end. Jason, just too quick in that last stint.
Too good for me, mate. He's been rubbing it in ever since. I'm going to smash him this week at Le Mans, just so I can get him back. But as you know, he's a bit of a teammate of mine too in the Enduro, so he'll tell you I was the first person to jump on and congratulate him. He drove awesome. And to be honest, I was that ecstatic from the terrible start I had to get back up into the podium that I was sort of happy with second. After that safety car, I thought I'm going to have a crack. but if I get out of shape or I get sideways or it gets too hard, I'm just going to let him go. And the first time I had tried a good crack down the back straight, I nearly lost it on the braking and went wide. So I just thought defend third. I thought I drove pretty well with the strategy overall, so it was a good race, and it was a great start to the season. I was wrapped with it.
Yeah, mate. Well, it's good points for you. When I first saw the start of the race, I was like, "Wow, Jamie's back. I think 12th or 13th. A lot of work to do, man. And you know how quality this field is. And when you're in 12th and 13th, it's going to be hard to pass.
Especially at Belle, Luke, where there's not many places to pass safely. So I was a bit concerned, to be honest. But you know, I did my usual, a bit of fuel saving, and did a really long second stint. And then I was lucky because the safety car came out, and I knew Jason would have to take it with me. And what I couldn't understand is how I jumped Paul Young, and I think it was, I can't remember who was behind him, but it might have been Michael Dumbrell, because they were definitely in front of me on adjusted position, because I'd taken a shorter fuel stop in the first one. So being only 2 or 3 seconds behind me on track, I knew they were going to pass me, and I knew Jason was too. But I only got passed by Jason, so I don't know if I saved that much fuel that I was that much better off that I must have, but. Yeah, I was really happy with the way the strategy played out. And I want to say thanks to Darren Shannon, who got onto me really quick and said, "Mate, you should be in the broadcast." For the interview, so if it wasn't for Darren, I wouldn't be here, so thanks, man.
Very good. Well, who would you like to thank for P2 tonight, Jamie?
Oh, look, I just want to thank all the competitors. Big effort from you, mate. I know you had a big week with your band, so RACESTARS TV, of course, always solid, mate. Even if it's a delayed live broadcast, always brilliant.
Thanks, mate.
Jason and Paul Young. Me and Paul Young have had some real good battles, but that one was a cracker, and me and Jason had a real solid run at each other too in that second stint. So I just enjoyed the night, and thanks to all the SSR teammates, mate, all 600 of them. So yeah,
awesome.
Onwards and upwards.
Excellent. Well, as always, good. Can't wait for next week. We're off to Le Mans next week. What do you reckon, Jason? You've heard Jamie's going to smash you next week. You looking forward to that one?
He most likely will. I've done 7 laps of practice, and I don't know if I'll get another session in. So
that doesn't have to worry you, Jason.
Yeah, I know, but just to on a comment you made earlier, the others short fueled at the second stop. That's how you were able to maintain your gap to them.
Oh, well, so that was a little bit. I wouldn't have done that if I was in, because they had me otherwise.
Well, very good. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks, boys, just for coming in for a chat. But awesome racing again tonight. Well done with the win, Jason Dixon, and the People's Champion. He's back, P2. He'll be on the top step before you know it.
People's Vice Champion tonight. Well done, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, boys.
Made up for VIR, that's for sure.
That's it, mate. See you, buddy.
Cheers, boys. Thank you. All right, that's it for our com booth tonight, but let's have a quick look at this incident, which is the talking point between the Seb and Greg Favell. So we'll try and get a slow-mo overview of this one, and we'll let the people decide. So you can see Greg Favell was in front at that point, and this is where the drama starts. So Seb's out on the marbles there. You can see him already lining up still around the outside. It's such a tricky place to go wheel to wheel around that part of the racetrack in particular. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be the best camera angle. Seb's quite a long way along there, but there Favell turns in. Now, there was that little bit of contact. It wasn't huge, was it? So just enough to rotate Favell around, and the rest is history. So just that slightest bit of contact. Could Greg have given him a bit more space? Who knows? I think it was adjudicated that the penalty went the way of Sebastian. And then what went on from there was secondary contact. So if we just zoom in for a moment on Greg Favell, I think it was John Latham that came through. And just watch this, we'll speed it up a little bit. So trying to get out of the way, there's more contact there. And where's John Latham fit into all this? Here he comes now. So here comes John. Favell's plucked reverse and straight into John Latham, which has then sent Johnny into the fence as well. So unfortunately, that was probably going to be the big talking point from the race, that incident. But it's been a pleasure bringing you another broadcast. Thanks everyone for hanging out and tuning in, and we'll see you next week for Le Mans. So Thursday Night Live here for split number 1. Looking forward to it. Take care, and see you next week. Good night.